Hey!
Hi.
So today we are teaching you how to get more defined curls with the TYME Iron. And we are also going to talk about how to get more volume, but we might put those in two separate videos. We'll have to decide. Okay, so Savannah normally curls with a really beachy wave. So today we're going to walk you through how to get more defined curls. Mm-hmm. So why don't you go ahead and show them maybe one thing that you would normally do, and we'll start curling in the back because I like
one curl that I would typically do.
Yeah, and then we'll show the difference of it. So I think it's really important. We like to section from the back like this because what it does is it makes you not have to sort through your hair to find the piece of hair that isn't curled yet. You're starting in the center back, so you put it all center forward. And then you can go ahead and, where do you start, Savannah? Bottom or top? I start at the top.
I actually start at the bottom.
Okay, perfect.
And the way that I like to say it is that I brick lay. So I take like a piece here, and then I'll take the piece like above it, and then beside, above it, beside. So like just what the next piece that kind of my finger goes to, then I'll just pull that piece out and throw it back behind my shoulder when I'm done with it.
Okay. So let's start with a normal curl, and then we'll go in and show how to adjust it to get a more defined curl.
Yeah. So a normal curl for me would be kind of like a beachy wave.
Yep.
And I'm going to just do a half rotation, and I'm going to let my ends out.
Yep.
And so this is about how my curls would typically look.
Okay.
And I don't have to twirl it back around my finger, but if I do, it just adds a little bit more shape into it. So this is about how my curl would normally look whenever I'm curling.
Normally start. You saw kind of the basics of that, so we'll walk you through as much as we can today to help you learn as she's curling and getting a more defined curl than that. The first thing you want to notice is how she's making her piece like a piece of paper. So she wants it really flat and solid. That's a really important part. Great. And then you'll notice in her approach is that she puts her thumb behind the light.
And my other fingers are on the
flute
heat light indicators. It looks like a flute.
It looks like the recorder.
Yep.
Hot crossbones.
And then half of the iron shows the exposed plates, and that's the side that you straighten with. And then the other side is the curved plates. So whenever I enter in the hair strand, I'm going to enter in with the curved side towards my head because that's the curling side.
Yep. So imagine if she approaches her head with this side, it's going to straighten. If she's going to approach with this side, it's going to curl. Yes. So show them how your approach.
So straighten and then curl.
Okay, perfect. So now she's got her piece straight. She's pulling it forward, directing it forward, and then she goes in with the curling side, and then she rotates and is going forward towards the mirror essentially.
Yep. So this is more of a full curl for me.
Yeah.
This is like one version of a full curl.
Yeah. And we'll adjust it as we go through, and we'll get different, more defined curls because I think everyone's defined curl is a different version.
There's so many different ways that you can do a defined curl. So like if you want your curl to be able to show like the peaks and valleys a lot, that's a lot different than a defined curl.
Let's talk to them what peaks and valleys are.
Yeah.
So here's the curl, and then you have the peak, the valley, and the peak of a curl. Sorry, I'm trying to see in the mirror.
And if I actually break this apart, it'll be a little bit easier to see.
Yeah.
So with this curl, peak, valley where it goes in, and then peak again, valley where it goes in.
The bigger you want the valley to peak ratio, the more horizontal, the less you want that ratio. So the more squished you want it kind of, you go more vertical. So if you think big Victoria's Secret, more beach wave. But the beach wave then has a tilt in it. So there's many changes. So if you take smaller pieces like this, you're bound to get a more defined kind of curl.
Yeah, so if I really want to make sure that my curl is super defined, if I just have a smaller piece like this, it curls like a ribbon. Like it gets super curly.
Way different. I want you to notice how she's turning her head because that exposes this hair to be easier for her to grab. And then it preps the hair going forward. So in essence, as she turns her head, you can see how her hair is already moving forward, which is important. And that allows you to get closer to the scalp as she goes in and gets her iron in there. And then you'll notice she kind of comes around her head and then she straightens her head out and she moves forward. But she doesn't do that in a way where she does this, that it like moves over a huge section of hair, because as you turn your head, you're moving the iron at the same time, kind of like when you're driving and you move the steering wheel. Same idea.
Yeah, exactly.
My dad used to do that. Oh, look over here, because he was always showing me buildings he built, and I was like, Dad, you're off the road. No.
So I have kind of it turned to the side, and then as I'm just kind of turning my head forward as it's going around.
Yeah. Okay. So I would consider this a more defined curl. Now you can adjust many things within like how you're doing this. Like I noticed she still is doing like a very beach wave angle. So you can adjust that angle in many ways. And then when you get to this top section, you can really make this more defined, because those are the ones that hold throughout the night in a lot of ways. So if you keep that underneath more elongated, by not making it super curly right up top, you're kind of keeping your length while you're getting more defined curls.
I mean, to me, there's a difference between defined curls in general and just like the one big barrel kind of like big curl that you can get. That's more of like a voluminous curl to me. But whenever you want defined, you can do that with beachy or with
So I want you to notice how she flipped the hair over the iron that time. That's a really key element in getting the curl you want. So go ahead and prep your next piece and we'll walk them through how to flip the piece over the back.
Yeah. And this is one that I just did specifically. This would be, I would consider more of like that Victoria's Secret kind of curl.
Yeah.
So still defined, just different.
Yes, a different definition. So this one I want to show your flip over the back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're on the right side. You see she closes and rotates her iron right away, and then she flipped her hair over the back, and then you see how she's guiding this hair, and then watch what she does here. She picks up the piece and twirls. That way you don't have to go in and find the piece after. Those are all key elements. Now don't try and learn this all in one like fell swoop, right? Take a piece, figure out what element you like and is easy for you, and then keep adding in other elements. We're giving you every little piece to get a really great defined curl, and each piece you add in helps you with that.
And I would say, like, typically, if I'm doing my regular beach curl, like, I'm taking a section that's pretty big, like this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a super defined curl if I have a section this big.
Right.
So I would say...
Especially up here.
Yes. If you want it to be more defined, I would say start smaller. And still, I mean, that's a lot of hair. But I'm just making sure that it's not too thick. It's a pretty like thin section. And I think the thinness of the section actually has a lot to do with the definition.
Absolutely.
Because because you're not dispersing against such a bigger like canvas versus like a smaller.
Yeah, like I tell people when they have fine hair and they want more volume, I will get them to take a bigger section like that, because people kind of take small sections on fine hair, which I never understand. It gives it less life. So I like to take nice big sections, and the key to it is not squeezing too tight.
And then if you ever feel like your hair just is a little snarly at the top of the section, I just brush my section forward with a paddle brush.
Yeah, and that's key when you're really trying to amp up your look on that day. Like if you're not in a hurry and just doing everyday curls or whatever, and you really want really great curls, then you'll want to brush the section before. Notice how she stays really close to her head here. That allows this whole piece that travels to create the curl, and that travel is what creates the curl. So did you do more vertical that time? I wasn't watching, but it looks like it from...
I think I did a little under a 90-degree angle.
Yeah. That's a really pretty curl though.
I do like that curl.
Yeah, it's neat. And you can see how much these curls change. So if she kept her curls really consistent throughout, you would get like a more consistent look. But you know, I'm not a big believer in super consistent. I just want like the ends to be relatively consistent and the like lean.
I actually prefer whenever my curls aren't more consistent, because if they are, then the peak and valley all start and stop in the same section, and it can actually start to look a little glam wave if you're not careful about it. So the more inconsistent that I am with my sizes and my sections, I think it actually kind of looks more defined, because the curls aren't all merging in together. They're all keeping their individual shape.
Yeah, I agree. It gives it a more natural look somehow.
Yes.
I think that is so key, how she travels around. You see all those adjustments, and then she grabs and twirls. that was a great curl too. So they're really two great curls in a row, but very different curls.
Very different, yeah. So there's this one where if you were to see, if I break that curl apart, because I have layers, so these curls actually end in different spots and they look a little bit different too. And then you can add in this one and it all goes together really well.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different.
Yeah, don't overthink the curls and redo it, trying to get them all perfect.
That took me a while.
Perfection was for the 90s and it was like, ugh.
For the birds too.
It was not good. I don't want the perfection again. Like everything had to match perfectly. And then, yeah. Okay.
And with those last two sections that I took, they were a little bit smaller. This one's a much longer section. So it's not going to allow me to get quite as much curl at the root, but it's underneath. So I don't care quite as much if it's like the curl is touching my scalp.
And see how she kind of lets the ends drop out? She does that on purpose.
Yeah. So I want that end to look a little bit more beachy. And you can see how it's not just super, super curly at the bottom. It'll come together with the full style really well though, and it helps conserve your length a lot. I don't want my ends to shrink up a bunch, so if I leave them out, then it helps conserve. So you can see where my section starts right here where the...
And notice her section is vertical. Whoops, sorry.
That's okay.
So her section is very vertical, so the way she does that is she goes in, she pinches, and then pulls this all apart. And that gives you a very nice vertical section.
Yes.
If you want to do a horizontal section, it's better to kind of draw forward and then pull apart.
Yeah, so you can see the line where you could see her scalp went this way and versus vertical, so it would go up and down.
Here's a horizontal-ish. And then vertical is this one. And you can see how that line looks very different.
And the reason I'm going vertical is because the plates are running vertically against my scalp. So
as you end up, it gets you closer in faster. Okay, so with that, you see how she travels close. She's rotating slowly, and then she travels close to her head all the way forward as she travels to the mirror. This should get volume right up near the scalp.
So this section started right here, and that's exactly where the volume starts. It's right there.
Yep.
If I even twirl this piece back just a little bit, it'll give me even just a little bit
just
more.
Wind it tight.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can see that volume.
Perfect. That's weird that we both thought that same thing. Okay, so see how she's got the iron right here and is staying. She's not changing her angle. She's really traveling straight forward, which should give her more volume right near the scalp. It's hard to see because your hair is dark up there.
I know.
The curl starts basically right there. You can see the difference, like what she has for volume over here versus over here.
And then think of it like with all of the hair building together. Like if I had all of my hair curled like this, like that's all going to be big in this area.
Yeah, that'll get really big. And like if you're worried about these like fuzzies right now, don't be.
Yeah.
That's in the finishing touches.
I know.
So
I was just trying to hide them so that you could see the curl better. Yeah. But
no, I wasn't saying you. I mean in general people. I know you're not worried about that because we all know that that comes together real quickly.
Yes.
So that one was, she traveled really fast because she had a small section, and that's a good thing to learn from that, is that the bigger the section, the slower you'll need to travel. We never talked about what heat you're on today. What heat are you on?
I'm on 375.
Okay.
And I like using 375 because it gets my curls to last the longest. So I like not having to redo my curls but once a week, typically, maybe once every 10 days or so. But yeah, so whenever I'm curling, I curl on a higher temperature just for that reason.
Yeah, to make it last.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can gauge that by how your curls last. Like she's looking for strong curls for 7 days, and that's why she does 375. I usually look for medium curls and for 7-ish days, and 7-ish because we both go longer than 7 days if we aren't on live. So I do 325 because I don't need super strong curls.
You like your curls to be able to relax. Yeah.
Because I get volume very easily.
And actually your curls look kind of the same throughout. Like your curls are really relaxed on the first day too, because that's just the style that you go for.
Yeah.
So.
But if I wanted curly, defined curls like this, I could definitely go to 375 or 400. I find 400 actually works for me really well when I'm wanting a really defined something like that.
I actually haven't curled on 400 since we got the temperature variant, but I had no problem curling on 400.
Yeah, I haven't curled on anything really besides 325 because I've always wanted really relaxed curls since we changed it.
So you can see that these are still kind of I wouldn't call them beachy. They definitely have volume in them, but it's just kind of like a good everyday kind of curl, but it has a lot of volume in it whenever it comes together.
Yeah, and if you are looking for more curl at the end, all you do is drag the curl. Let's show how you elongate the curl at the end so that you can see what she's doing on purpose.
So if you like the idea of having like a beachy curl and being able to leave out your end so that it conserves your length, how I was saying, you can come in at the root and do your volume with your angle, and then if you drop your iron down like this, it's just going to elongate just at the end. So it kept my curl here still really voluminous, and then at the end it just dropped it out.
Mm-hmm. And if you didn't want that, you just continue what you're doing all the way through. You don't change your angle from here to here.
Exactly. And if I wanted to curl this piece a little bit more, if I thought that it was too beachy, I would just go into the valley there, and then I would just finish it out like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just adds more curl just to the bottom where I needed it. And for my face frame pieces, I'm doing a little bit more of a beach wave because I like it a little bit softer around my face.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, instead of pushing forward with my tip more, I'm leaning back with my iron. So if you look from the side, it's just leaned back like this. And that helps get more of a little bit
lean curl.
Wave.
Yeah, I think that's
really
the
tight
key of lean back versus forward. So when she's pushing forward, she's really using the palm of her hand to push the iron. When she's doing a lean back curl, it's more like the elbow comes forward. Mm-hmm. So you're bringing the elbow forward and you're leaning the iron back towards the back wall, and that gives you that more beachy curl. So you can see how she changed up her curl a lot.
Yep. And then if I just want these face frame pieces just to kind of merge in with my curl, I just pop in a little bit of curl right in the center, and it just helps it blend in with the rest of the section.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks great. Okay, so left side, you see how she comes up over her head and she's rotating the iron back, so she's pushing with the palm of her hand again, and then she catches and rotates. So we'll walk you through the left side like we did on the right side.
Yes.
So she started with the bottom middle section of her hair. So now she's going to start right up by her scalp, and then she's traveling forward close to her head. She leans her head to be able to keep the angle of her iron, and then she straightens out her head when she doesn't need to anymore. Mm-hmm. And that allows you to, I think that's the approach you found that works the best to keep your angle consistent on your iron, but you move your head instead of your iron.
Yeah, I never even thought about that before.
Yeah, you don't need to because you just kind of make adjustments, but so you see how she's coming and traveling forward, and all she does is wrap her hair down around on this side. You don't have to flip the hair over the iron like you do on the right.
Mm-hmm. And one thing you can notice here is that I actually went a little fast at my root here, and so my hair that's at the top retains more moisture because it's my natural color, and it's a little bit thicker, so it has a tendency to not curl quite as quickly as my more porous ends. So if I want those ends to be, if I want the root to be more curly, I can just go a little bit slower at the root and then speed up the further down the hair strand that I go.
Yep, perfect. So she brushed out that piece because she felt a little snarl in it, and that just helps keep this nice and smooth. When this looks nice and smooth, your curl will look nice and smooth. If that looks tattered as it's going through there, it means you have like snarls and all kinds of things like that did you catch an extra piece in there?
I don't know. Did I?
I think this piece you'll want a little more curled in the end, but we'll see. Oh no, there it came together. Okay. Sorry.
We'll just see how that comes together at the end.
Yeah, sometimes you can overanalyze, and I always say don't do that, so don't do that.
It's so easy to just like look at the curl though and be like, oh, I don't know how that one's gonna look, but whenever it comes together, it usually ends up looking kind of how you want it to.
So leaning head, then she straightens her head out here, and then she pulls down to elongate the curl. Okay, so let's go through and do really a left side curl. So she's taking her vertical section. This is at the nape of her neck. She goes in, close, rotate, and then she goes nice and slow at the beginning because that's how you get curl at the base. And then she kind of speeds up just a little bit as she goes down.
Just a little bit, not enough for you to even really notice unless I brought it up.
Yeah, exactly. But I noticed because I created it, so I pay attention to every
you taught me
details. I just pay attention to those details. Okay, so piece of hair forward, everything stays nice and close to her scalp, and she's just moving forward. And then right here, her curl changes from full to beachy.
Yep. So you can see how that kind of took out just basically this hair right here down. Everything else has more of the volume in it. And I can show you without doing my hair.
And so it might have been consistent because you changed your head. Like
here.
Maybe,
yeah,
I don't know. It always kind of adjusts just a little bit because there's little tweaks of how much you rotate and then how vertical you go. So.
And then this is a little bit bigger of a section. But you can still get defined as long as you're being conscious of your angle.
Do you see how she's doing this? This is straightening out the hair, kind of like running a brush through it. So I'm going to show you how she does that on the next piece, and you can watch how she wants to really keep that section nice and straight and fanned out instead of twisted. A lot of people have a tendency to twist as they, right here, they
like
start
this,
twisting.
twist. Yeah. And so I want it to be really nice and flat.
Yeah. So as we get to the face frame, this is where she starts adjusting into more beachy in the front, which is, she wanted less volume here.
Yes, because I just feel like the volume doesn't look quite as great with face frame, like my shorter face frame, because then it's a big drastic change from volume here to flatter here, because I definitely don't want volume in my bangs. I blow dry specifically to not get the volume there, so.
Yeah. So why would you put in that work in the blow dry and then take it away in the curl?
Exactly. I think that that's something too that's important for people to know, that make your blow dry work for the style that you're wanting versus going against the style that you're wanting. So blow drying, if you want more control in your style, then controlling your blow dry.
Yeah, more volume than break the natural fall of your hair.
Yeah.
We'll go into that in another video. Okay, so now that you've got all the curls shaped, we can show you a couple of things. Like your left side, we didn't do those volume tricks. So can you pick up a curl on the left side and get more volume to pick up and show them how they would do that if they didn't get quite as much volume as they wanted?
Yes, exactly. So my curl starts about here, but my section starts here. So if I want to get curl and volume up in this area, I'm just going to come in right at the root, rotate back right away, and then I'll just let it go when I get to the next peak. So you can see that that volume starts to match over here.
And then there's other ways to pick up the volume as well. So we'll show you in her finishing touches. And when curls are just fresh, they lay very different than when you tailor them, which you'll see come together in a little bit, I'm sure. So she takes a nice small section, rotates nice and slow there, and you could even start. You could even start slower. I thought that was a funny part.
I knew that was
that's what happens when you miss the valley. You
I
just
missed
have
my
to
valley.
go through it. Yeah, there we go.
And I still didn't even have to finish all the way to the end. I just had to carry it through just a little bit more to get the rest of the valley.
Let me see that one. Where is that? Is that this valley?
Did I not get it again?
No, I think you got it. It was just misshapen a little bit. So there, that looks good. Okay. So on this one, can you, when you first go in, can you start really slow as you rotate, and that will even give you more volume. So as you go in and close, start rotating.
Slowly rotate it.
Start right there, like put it right up the scalp. Yeah, perfect. So that will really give her as much volume as you can get is when you start here and then start your curl there. So that gives you more lift at the scalp.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see this curl starts right away.
In this area, how much more volume there is just from going a little bit slower.
And really starting your rotation right away and really moving forward. You can see how that curl gets way higher up on the scalp. So that's how you get a really defined curl closer to the scalp. Okay, so finishing touches. What are you going to do for your finishing touches today?
I typically always brush my curls out.
Okay.
I don't know if that's just because I like being able to wear them for so long, and so if I brush them out right away and I like how it looks, I know it's gonna stay like that for the next few days. And then I will typically use Big Time, and then I'll use hairspray just on my bangs.
Okay, so let's try one side, just kind of like roughing it up with your fingers, and then the other side we'll try brushing, and start with that, and then we'll finish out with.
So I'm just breaking up all of the curls, and remember how many different curls I put in here. Like each curl looked very, very different.
But see how they come together.
Comes together really well.
And they'll even break apart as the day goes through. They won't stay so morphed together. They'll start like really separating. Can you show them how they'll kind of do it? Like do one curl and show how it'll separate out.
So like
yeah. So they'll start coming together like that.
So if I break my curls up too much, I can just twirl them back around my finger and they get redefined. So that's actually what I usually do is I break it all apart, and then I go back in, and the ones that I want to have a more definition, I'll go back in and just twirl those pieces.
That's great. Okay, so let's go ahead and brush out the other side, and then we'll use the products to spray in and finish that out. Fuzz flying around in there.
So the brushing out just gives a little bit more of a soft look. And then I would go back through and kind of piece it out with my fingers again. That even just piecing it out with your fingers helps define them a little bit more.
And then what do you need? Big Time and hairspray?
Yeah. I would use Big Time and hairspray.
Okay.
So this is Big Time. It's our root lift powder, but I use it all throughout my midshaft and ends too, just to give it a little bit of texture and definition. So it's a powder spray like this, and it just, instead of dumping, you're able to just spray it exactly where you want it. And so I typically take a horizontal section. And come in, do a couple sprays there, and then I'll just lift in the back and spray kind of right at my root. And I love that it's so soft and touchable and brushable, so I'm able to brush this out, and then I can just go like this again, and it'll give me a little bit more of that texture again and volume. Then I actually like to spray a little bit right underneath.
Me too. It really helps it go where I want it to go.
It helps just stay off my face just a little bit without giving it the huge volume in the front.
Yeah, the McDonald's arches.
Yeah. And then if I were to spray this through my mid shaft, I would just hold it out like here and just spray 1 or 2 times.
I like the big volume on you.
I do too.
I've missed it.
It's been a while.
Okay, now let's do the brushed out side and finish out the same and see how they come out, how much different they come out. Probably for you, because you have the same technique with both, they'd probably be pretty similar, huh?
I'm guessing it'll look pretty similar. It's just a little softer on this side, I think.
And you didn't redefine curls on this side yet, so we can kind of show the difference in that. And then I don't think you did your face frame, like your bangs on this side, on the left side.
Underneath? Yeah, I got it.
Oh, did you?
Under here a little bit, yeah. I just did it before rather than at the end.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed it.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Perfect. So turn to each side and let's see the difference in. You've got a nest in the back here.
Is there?
Yeah, right
it's
there.
Just from
there we go.
Putting in the Big Time.
Over your shoulder. Okay, perfect. And then, so that's the right side, and let's see the left side. This is more brushed out. Yeah.
This is without a mirror too.
Yeah. Okay, and do you want to use hairspray to kind of finish out your...
So what I do with my curtain bangs is I just pinch, and kind of bring it all forward. And then I just spray right at the root where I want it to stay.
We're big believers in spraying with purpose, so where hairspray dries is where it stays. So as she sprays it, she's spraying it with intention to get that piece to stay specifically where it is.
Yes. So I just sprayed right at the curve like right where the curl pops in, just so that it keeps that little point right there.
Mm-hmm. And so our hairspray works off of memory resins, and it really just helps it remember where it is. So in the beginning, it'll feel like a strong hold, and then it's very brushable and soft. So it's not helmety or anything, but it is strong at the beginning.
And I feel like it actually, the curls, back to the curls, it's whenever you brush them all out here, it gives you a lot more volume with those defined curls that I added in. I felt like whenever I brushed them out, it kind of added to that.
Yeah, I would agree. It looks like a lot more volume than you initially thought was going to be in there.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love it, love it. Yeah, we'll be bringing more tips to you in this fashion, I'm sure, in the near future.
If you have any questions or want to see any specific topics, just DM us on Instagram or contact our customer service.
Perfect.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.